Hi, I'm Dr. Craig Sommers, and this is longevity expert Peter Ragnar, and today's topic is how to build muscle on a high-raw vegan diet. And I know Peter has been doing this for many years, and he's going to enlighten us with what he knows. So tell us.
Duh. Okay. I know it's something that presents a problem to many people when they switch off animal products and they try to go vegetarian or especially vegan. How do I build muscle? How do I keep flesh on my bones? What are the secrets? Now, this has been a challenge for me over the years, so I spent a lot of time coming to some conclusions as to what it exactly is that will build muscle. Well, obviously, the first thing that you need to do is exercise. Now, exercise of itself does not build muscle. You know what builds muscle? Rest and repair builds muscle. So you get in the gym and you work very hard. Now, it's just like you went out into the sunshine and you lay there in the sun and you got a good dose of the rays and you're a little pink. Do you go back out into the sun the following day? No. You allow the body to adjust to it. So the same thing with a workout. You allow your body to adjust to the stress that you've placed upon it. So first it's got to come back to where it was. That requires a readjustment. Good nutrition, sleep, rest, a slower lifestyle, and lots of water, lots of fluid. You have to hydrate because muscles are mostly water. So it takes a lot of good, clean, unfluoridated, non-chlorinated water. Okay, that's the start. You've got to work out, you've got to take time in between.
Okay, so tell us about nitrogen. I heard an interview of you speaking with Len Foley where you say you pay a lot of attention to your nitrogen intake. Can you please explain what that is?
Okay, well let's look at the foods that we eat. We take in carbohydrates, we take in fats, we take in protein. So basically what these break down to is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Now, except for protein, which has another molecule which is called nitrogen. Nitrogen in the protein is what allows the body to build muscle mass. It's the very same thing that you have in the soil. When a farmer is planting a field, he has to make sure he has enough nitrogen in the soil, otherwise the plants won't grow. And so, when you have enough nitrogen, then you have what you call anabolism, or building up. If there's not enough nitrogen in the body, then what the body ends up doing, it searches the muscles to pull back nitrogen. So what starts happening is this process of catabolism. The body starts eating itself. So it starts eating muscle mass. So this is one of the challenges on a raw food diet. When we're not getting enough protein, we notice that we start losing our muscle mass. We actually can get thin and get fat at the same time, which seems crazy. But the ratio between body fat and lean muscle mass starts to change. And it's all dependent upon, and I'm being very simplistic about this, nitrogen. That nitrogen molecule that's found in protein.
So in other words, you're saying paying attention to your nitrogen intake is essentially paying attention to your protein intake, your amino acid intake.
Yes, because one creates the other. And they're both dependent on each other. Now, also, a lot of times people think that, well, I will minimize the amount of carbohydrates, complex carbs, and I'll get rid of the fat. Well, this is another mistake that people make, because carbohydrates, especially complex carbohydrates and fat, allow the body to utilize protein and to store the nitrogen. And the way they measure this nitrogen balance is basically 90% of the nitrogen the body takes in goes out with your urine. Your urine or your defecation or your perspiration, so you start losing nitrogen that way. But as long as we have a good natural source of protein, and I'm not talking about animal products here, which is the odd thing about it. People think you can't build muscle unless you're eating a cow or a chicken or something like that, which in my mind it's ridiculous. You can absolutely build muscle if you are aware of just these few basic things that we're just talking about.
So Peter, tell us what you do to ensure that you get enough nitrogen, also known as protein, in your diet to maintain and to continue building muscle.
You know, that's been a question of a lifetime, so to speak. What I do almost on an everyday basis, I start my breakfast with hemp seed. Hemp seed is probably one of the richest sources of protein that you can imagine. I have a cup of raw shelled hemp seed, and I mix it with blueberries. I have some coconut milk in there, and when you think about that, that cup of hemp seed has 53 grams of usable protein.
And that's the key here, it's usable protein, highly usable.
Right. That plus it provides enough calories, and this has been always a challenge for me, is getting enough calories in my diet from raw sources to maintain muscle mass. As I had mentioned, that you have to have carbohydrates, you have to have fats. They help utilize nitrogen and protein. That's what allows it to be synthesized. So that particular type of breakfast is very, very powerful at doing that. Now, that breakfast is well over 1,000 calories by the time I add the blueberries and whatever fruits I may put in there. Now, I also, after I work out, when your muscles, think of your muscles, you know, it's like a sponge. You take that sponge and you just squeeze out all the juices of it. It's thirsty. So right after my workout, I go upstairs and I make myself a fabulous smoothie with a protein mix. And I've been using Sun Warrior protein for that.
Can you tell us why you use Sun Warrior protein and why plant-based?
Well, first of all, because I don't eat animals. I don't have the apparatus for it. You know? I don't have fangs, I don't have claws. If I were in the natural environment out there, for me to run down a deer, bite it in the neck, wrestle it to the ground and rip it apart, it's not something I can do.
Okay, so it is a much more civilized manner of nourishing yourself.
Right. Well, not only that, I don't have the saliva to digest those things. I don't have that acidic saliva. My saliva is very alkaline. When you have acidic saliva, then your teeth rot out.
So in other words, the science is showing that this is the type of protein that our bodies are meant to be using.
Exactly, and I take the example of your great primates. I mean, just a chimpanzee alone, a 165-pound chimpanzee can rip the door of a car right off its hinges, let alone a gorilla.
So Peter, why did you pick Sun Warrior protein as your protein of choice?
Well, first of all, I found it to be one of the cleanest and less acidic of proteins. Protein generally is acidic, has an acidic effect. And I found that to have the least acidic effect. And plus, I love the quality of the product. I love the people. I love the research behind that. And I have a lot of confidence in them. I trust them.
And me too. And a lot of people come in and how good it tastes.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, you know, see, there's a lot of proteins out there, and some of them, well,
yes, I
some
understand
way
this means.
I love the way it tastes.
Yes, it's agreeable. It agrees with the body.
Exactly.
It goes in and does what it's supposed to. It assimilates and it does its job.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, Peter, are you also using some other of the Sun Warrior products? I know that there are many things that...
Right. Especially the barley is one that I'm especially fond of. And I know it's we can go on talking about that. There's a whole line of things that.
And that's a talk for another day, of course.
Right, absolutely.
Okay, so to close, would you just give our viewers some quick summary of what they can take away with them in a short little paragraph, say?
Okay, well, first of all, remember the importance of having a good high-quality protein because of the nitrogen factor. Second, make certain that you hydrate amply. Third, rest. Rest for recuperation. You have to recuperate the muscles so they can overcompensate and you come back stronger. That's pretty simple. 1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And if people want to learn more about what you do and your longevity information, how can they find more about Peter Ragnar?
PeterRagnar.com.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody. Hope you got a lot out of it. And happy working out.